Hey guys, welcome to the Something About Tuesdays podcast. I'm your host, Phebe Joi. Join me every other Tuesday for a lighthearted podcast to keep you company while you do your thing. Hey guys, welcome back to Something About Tuesdays, episode 38. I'm your host, Phebe Joi, and hey, and welcome. Okay, you guys. So I'm using the new platform. I think I told y'all about it like almost 2 months ago, but I just I'm actually just not having to use it. They were gonna change, and by new platform I mean new platform for recording and editing my episodes. That's why I'm talking about it. Like first thing, last episode I'd used it to edit my episode. I had already recorded it under the past like Spotify for podcasters. Like that's what I had used. That's what I used to. That's what I started it on, and I'd already recorded it under that. And then it did the big switch where you couldn't record and edit under that anymore, and you had to use Riverside. So I have now switched to Riverside. Last episode, I just had to edit using that, and it wasn't too bad. So hopefully it sounded smooth and was fine. But this time I have to record and edit. And let me just say, I have been playing with how this new recording thing, and anytime there's something new, you're going to be like, "Ah," or at least I am. I think I've worked out most of the major kinks, like the weird sounds, the echo sounds. If there is more oddness to how it sounds, give me a little grace, a little time to kind of fix it. I hope it records like the whole episode. Like that's where I am. It's like, now how long can I go with this? But it is interesting trying something new. And I think once I get the hang of it, I think this will be good. Like I do think it would be a good transition or change. Nobody really likes change most of the time, at least from something they're used to that, it's one of those, if it isn't fixed, don't. If it isn't fixed, if it isn't broken, don't fix it. Yeah, that's kind of how I felt before. But hey, that doesn't mean that this is going to be terrible. So we will see. I One thing I have to get used to is that when I record now, before I recorded using my phone, and now I have to record using my computer, which I think is a good thing. I don't know. I think actually they're working on possibly making it more possible for you to record on your phone. But anyway, so I am currently using the computer, and it's funny because I'm not doing the video camera, not yet. So right now, there's this like big black screen, I assume where my face would be, and there's the little there is something I think will be helpful, and that is that you know how sometimes with sounds it'll have the little bar that goes across that lets you know if you're getting too loud or not. And it goes from like green to yellow to red. It has one of those, which I do think might be helpful, hopefully, with maintaining sound and things like that. And there's other buttons on here that I have no idea what to use them for. I'm like, okay, I just want to record and get it out there. But anyway, hey, you guys. Here we are using something new, using a new thing. I hope your last couple of weeks have gone well. We are now in August, y'all. I mean, we're straight in August. I can't believe it. When I had to write August 1st on things, I was like, oh, we're already here? August? You guys, it's got me starting to think about fall. It's the school coming back. It's honestly, the weather has cooled down because it has, you guys, this past week at least, it has been raining like nonstop. And we're going to talk about that. But which I don't mind really. Y'all know I don't mind the summer rain and things like that. But um yeah, it's coming. It's August. I With it obviously school will be starting. We're going to talk about that too. But before school has started, I had a couple of weeks to still get my last minute things in, and I hope you did too. In fact, so it was my mom's sister and I, we did some little last minute traveling, and we went to go spend a weekend to go see the Ark Encounter and the Creation Museum. I don't know if you've heard about those two things, but the Ark Encounter is this place where the people built a like life-size replica of Noah's Ark from the Bible. And so that's the Ark Encounter. And then the Creation Museum is a museum that's built around how the world was created from a biblical perspective. And so we went to go do that. And we had the pass to go, I think, across 3 days. I think we just went the 2 days, but we did have a little pass to do that. And we stayed at a hotel up there and enjoyed ourselves there. But I wanted to talk about those two things. So we went to the Ark Encounter. And if you've never been, this was my first time going. My sister had been before, and my mom had been before, actually. But surprisingly, I hadn't. And so I was kind of excited. I was like, I can't wait to see this. And they were like, yeah, it's going to be fun. So we drive up there, and when you get there, first thing you got to know. So if you're planning on going on a trip there, this is just good information. First thing you got to know is that when you get there, you got to park. And it does cost $15, I think, to park. I had already paid for with part of the travel pass or whatever. I had paid for the parking already. And y'all, that's the way to go. Tickets on your phone, y'all, it's just the way to go. It's so easy to hold it up and to scan it and to do those things. But so we went to the parking, and when you go to park, you have no choice but to ride the shuttle to get to the actual Ark Encounter Museum place, which was a little surprising to me because I was like, we can't walk there. It was a probably like at least a 5-minute shuttle drive. So it wasn't close. Like you couldn't walk there. And even if you felt, ambitious enough to want to walk there, the road that the shuttle went on was like this dirt path. I mean, it might have been paved, but it felt like a dirt path because it was surrounded by trees and foliage and things. And to get there and to get back. So that was kind of like, oh boy, because like once you go to the Ark, I feel like you're kind of trapped there until the shuttle can bring you back. And let me say, at the end of the day, we left around maybe 5, and the line to get to the shuttle to get back to your parking was so long. It was so long. There was no shade. But anyway, so when we get there, we park, we ride the shuttle over, and you get off, and you're kind of there at the beginning, and you're like, oh, there's like the info desk, and you're not quite at the Ark yet. You do have to go through this, you go through a little walkway, and so you walk through there, you get pictures. There's little places to take pictures. You see the Ark, and it's looking big the closer you get to it, and it's fun. And you go through, there's like, you can see there's a little bird um exhibit, I would say, which I thought the bird was stuffed because it wasn't moving. And it was so funny because I was like, why do they have a stuffed bird? I'd rather it be real. And my sister was like, but Phoebe, it is real. And I was like, it's not, it ain't moving. It's not real. Because y'all, it looked like a really good stuffed bird. It was a kookaburra bird. But let me just say that thing did move. And how he blinked. He blinked. And I was like, oh, it's alive. And I loved it. It was the cutest thing. Kookaburras, at least. And that one was very cute. So we looked at that. We're meandering our way. And I'm thinking, this is going to be a wonderful little trip. Like, there's a lot of people here, but we're not crowded. We're just going to make our way in. People are walking around. And then we kind of get ushered into towards the entrance of the Ark. And that's when I realized, I wonder if it was more crowded than I thought it was going to be. Because then we got to the dreaded, y'all know, when they have to have the lines kind of weave in and out, like going back and forth, to get to the entrance to go up this ramp thing. Yeah, it was one of those. Like, they trick you. And then when you first walk in, you walk around and you're thinking like, oh, look at all this space. Then you're ushered into the one entrance, which I wonder if that's like, connecting to the biblical, like, okay, you think you can get by with everything, but really there's just one way. But so we had to like wait in that line, and that took a little bit of time. Not long at all. Like, honestly, in the whole like scheme of things, it didn't take too long to get to that line. But I just wasn't ready for that long weaving in and out line. But alas, there we were. Now I will say, for me personally, there was a lot of ladies there who had the cutest dresses, and so I did go on a mission to, if I saw a cute dress, ask where they got it. And I found, I got some Shein, I got TJ Maxx. It was this cute little sweater set I saw. I was like, ooh, I like that. And so that was part of my trip. Was like, oh my, look at all these cute clothes. But anyway, so we get through that line where honestly I felt like one of the animals going into Noah's Ark. It was just weaving in and out, just going, making it up the ramp, getting through. And then finally we go inside. And you think like once you get inside, it'll be a little more spacious, like perhaps a little less of just a little, I guess a little less crowded maybe. So we get in there, and honestly, it was not that much less crowded. In fact, you guys, when we went, and this is, I had to tell myself, like, we cannot go on a Saturday in the summer anymore because there were so many people, more than I thought. And I don't mind people. Y'all know I'm a people person, but it was so many people that walking through the arc, like if you're a claustrophobic person, probably not a good idea. Not with that many people, because the arc itself, like I said, is a replica, and so I feel like there wasn't a lot of space wasted. Let's put it that way. So they had like the arc. You're inside the arc itself, and the exhibits are kind of like what the cages would look like that the animals are in, or what the space would look like, and from small to really large, and what the animals possibly could look like, and how they like fed them and watered them, how they got rid of the nasty stuff and everything. And so it was cool, very cool to see. But when we went, like I said, it was so crowded, and we just kind of like walked along, together, and you could see, but it was very crowded. And so even like taking pictures was like, oh my goodness, there's going to be 5 million people in your picture. Um, and so I would suggest perhaps going on a weekday, or not going when everybody's going, like right when school's about to start, when they're trying to get it out of their system. um, Maybe it's always that busy. I have no idea, but it just felt that busy. It felt very, very busy and crowded. And it wasn't, like I said, it wasn't terrible by any means, but it was enough for me to notice, and I'm a people person. So anyway, you go up. There's 4 levels of the arc, and each level there's like an exhibit that kind of, or exhibits that kind of represent what they think the arc might have looked like on the inside, and how they think things might have been done. Not everything is explicitly explained in the Bible, and so there are some liberties taken with what they think might have happened, based on what they know of history and things like that. Um, One thing I do like about both the Ark Encounter and the Creation Museum is that they do not discount science. They very much think science and religion go hand in hand, which I agree with. And so that's cool. Like you can see that theme throughout as well. Now, they're not saying, they're not agreeing with Big Bang Theory and evolution, but they are, having like seeing other connections to things and from a more biblical perspective. So I did like that. And I'm not saying they got everything right, but I do like their effort that they put towards that. So anyway, so we did that. We go all the way up. We make it up the 4 flights, and then you gotta go back down. Yeah, there's a one way in, one way. And I'm just kidding. I do think there might just be one way in and one way out. But so we go back down the stairs, or down the ramps. It's mostly ramps. And that took, maybe we were there from probably, we pulled in at 11:30, left at like 5. That's what I said. So then we go to leave, and and we're like, yeah, let's go. And then there's this long line, and we're like, wait a minute. No. First we were like, let's skip it. Let's go through the building and see if we can skip it. So we went to the building to cool down, and then we're like, oh no, that's the shuttle bus line. Like we can't skip that. So we had to go all the way back down and go back to the end of the line and wait there for like 20 minutes or so as the shuttle takes people back to their cars. I will say that part. I was like, ugh, not a fan of that. But it is what it is. A lot of places you do have to shuttle. So we did that, went back, and enjoyed the Ark Encounter. So if you feel like going, go ahead and go. Like I said, I would suggest maybe try your best to pick a time that's not as busy. Even if you might have to pick, I don't know if, I mean, we went right in the middle of the day. I think it opened until 8. So you probably could even do like a half day, maybe. I don't know. I don't know if it's any busier or less busy in the evening than it is during the day. It still felt pretty busy. So there is that. But then after that, of course, we were starving, right? And so then we're like, okay, we had a hotel nearby, I think within like 15, 20 minutes. And we're like, let's find some food somewhere, nearby near the hotel. Well, we ended up going to this place called somebody's kitchen. I can't remember whose. I don't know if it was like Haley's kitchen or like somebody's kitchen. It was somebody's kitchen, and it was a family style restaurant. So we get there, and I mean, if if you're going to the Ark Encounter and the Creation Museum, you're going to some rural parts of, I think, northern Kentucky. And so I was like, okay, well, this feels pretty rural right here where we are. But so we went to this little family kitchen place that was in kind of like the strip mall area. And we get there, and I mean, it seems fine. So, we sit down. The menu seems diverse. Like it seems like a diverse Southern style food. Um, and so I think I got the best thing that I had from there, which their food was pretty good, was their fried pickles, and those pickles were so good. I'm telling you, I was supposed to share with my sister and my mom, and I did share, but they didn't eat near as much as me because I just kept going. Pickles, fried pickles. Sometimes you can only eat like a few before you're like, okay, I'm done. These were so good because they were really thin. Like they were the round kind, not the spears, which I prefer. And then they were just these really thin, like very thin pickles with the breading over them. So the pickle taste, like the dill part, wasn't overbearing, but you could still taste it. So they were excellent. So those are really good, the fried pickles. And then I'm trying to think. I can't remember what my sister and mom got. Ah, I don't remember. I got the meatloaf, which was okay. It wasn't terrible. I got Brussels sprouts, which it was Caesar Brussels sprouts. Like it was Brussels sprouts cooked in Caesar dressing, which was definitely different. I was like, this is probably the chef's like own making. And it wasn't bad. It was different, but it wasn't bad. And I can't remember what my mom. I think they just got some chicken. My sister did. Oh wait, she did get these. Um, they were these potato buffalo chicken skin things, which are really good. Once again, I think kind of like the menu items were kind of things that maybe the chef just came up with, or maybe the person who created the restaurant, because it was kind of a family style, because they were potatoes, but not like carved out wedges of potato, but like a potato wedge looking thing with buffalo chicken. You know that buffalo chicken dip that you make with like chicken and Frank's hot sauce, like that you make in the crock pot? It was that with cheese on top, with melted cheese, like thick old layer of melted cheese on top. And yeah, and there were like six of them like lined up. It was, and Beth gave me a little bit of a sample. It was pretty good. I was like, okay, like that was cool. That was good and creative. So that was a nice little restaurant. And the waitress, she actually ended up being very sweet. And she'd asked us what religion we were and what church we went to. And come to find out, she had experience with our religion, and she was planning on going to church the next day after not going for a while. So that was kind of cool. So I'd be like, yeah, totally go. And she's like, say a prayer for me. And we're like, we will, we will. So that was fun, and being able to do that and see that and eat at that restaurant, that little family style restaurant, which I really, y'all, it was somebody's kitchen. It's all I know, somebody's kitchen. Um, and then we went back to the hotel. So we stayed at this little, it was called a microtel, which I hadn't heard of. For no reason. But I think it's because it looked like when we pulled up to it, it looked like a little hotel cut in half and then cut in half again, like a quarter of a hotel. And I was like, oh boy, these little hotels. But we got in our room, and it really wasn't too bad. Like it was fine on the inside. It was spacious. It seemed nice. And the nice thing about one thing I've learned about, and I'm not saying this was a cheap hotel, but I've stayed in some cheap hotels before, and particularly one that I remember my husband and I, we stayed in one. I think it was like a motel, which I very rarely stay in the motels. Those are the ones that I think your room door is like on the outside, like, right? I think that's what that is. But anyway, and we stayed in one in Gatlinburg. And I remember that being one of the scariest experiences of my life. It just felt like a slasher hotel. Like, not to say that and not to bring down anything, but y'all, I was like, this is a motel that people have gotten murdered in. Like, that's what it felt like. Like, I was like, this looks like any scary movie. And I don't even watch scary movies, but this was it. This is where all the scary stuff happens, in this type of motel. And it was funny because I remember one thing distinctly that stood out that was excellent in this terrible motel hotel was that the shower was, I like strong water pressure. And so that shower, the water pressure was so strong. And I remembered appreciating it, but being like, that's because they needed to wash the blood out. Like, and that's kind of what this hotel we stayed in. I mean, it was fine. It was nothing like the slasher hotel that Hubs and I stayed in Gatlinburg that one time. But It was, but the water pressure was strong, and I was like, "Yep, yep. This is this is one of those like you stay like one night. That's about it, y'all." No, the microtel actually was it was very nice. Especially for how quickly we got it, and just for what we needed it for. And they had the free breakfast. That's the other thing. Sometimes you get to these little hotels, and the kind of cheaper ones will have these great breakfasts. It had like the waffles and oatmeal and fruit and cereal and muffins and sausage and eggs and all of that. And then you go to this expensive hotel, and they have a restaurant with breakfast in it, right? Yeah, because they want you to spend more money, but they don't offer you anything, and anything that they do offer is like you get like a breakfast bar or something. So I will say you got to find those. Sometimes you can't be hotel picky, and you'll actually end up getting some better amenities. But anywho, so we stayed there overnight, and then we went to the Creation Museum. Now, I had been there before, and I I remember my goodness, I think it had been 2011, I think was the last time I'd been there. So y'all, it's been quite a long time. 13 years, I guess, 13, something like that, since I had been to the Creation Museum. So we went again, and it was nice. It wasn't near as crowded feeling as the Ark Encounter. And so that was nice. And they had a new kind of they did y'all they did have this new IMAX 3D 4D show, that literally they're like, this is the first time we've shown anyone, like, you guys are group number one that we've ever shown us. If you fill out the survey, you get a free drink, etc. And so we were like, okay, let's do this. So we went to the show, and it wasn't terrible by any means, but there was this, to make it 4D, it's got to either like move your chair or spritz you with water or air or anything like that. This one, it spritzed you with air, but it also had this thing that would like kick you in the back. And so it was like this I think it was more kids type show. um, and anytime like the character would like fall forward, the chair would kick you in the back. And instead of me feeling like, oh, this is a great 4D experience, I was like, if this chair doesn't stop kicking me in the back, because that's literally what it felt like. I was like, maybe it was supposed to be like a bump or something. I'm like, vibrate my chair, move my chair, but don't kick me in the back. Like, so that was my feedback. Um, but that was fun. And the free drinks were just for your regular soda drinks. But when I left there, actually, when I first got there, it was raining like crazy. So when we came inside, we were kind of soaked and wet and therefore freezing. So I went by the little coffee shop area, and I got my regular chai latte, y'all know, and chai latte with my caramel syrup and drizzle added and all that stuff. And I have to say that they did that chai latte right. They did it right. Which, and I mean, I went back and complimented them because, one, the lady in front, there was someone in front of me who I think maybe they were arguing about something, and she ended up leaving and not buying anything. And that can kind of put people in a mood anyway in the service industry if people are being difficult. And so I ordered mine, and I wasn't sure what to expect. I wasn't gonna look, if it was terrible, I wouldn't have said anything, but um I got my drink, and it ended up being such a pleasant surprise of how good it was that I had to go back and be like, hey, y'all did really good with this. Thank you so much. And I think they appreciate it, especially after dealing with a difficult customer. So I was like, I hope they know that, hey, it's okay. Not everybody is the same. One person, you may not be their cup of tea, but hey, the next person, she might love it. So I definitely enjoyed that. So if you go to the Creation Museum, at least their chai latte is really good. So if their chai latte is good, maybe the rest is good. Mom did get their hot chocolate, and she said it was more like just okay, which I've learned that most places hot chocolates are just okay. I think it's because they don't put enough chocolate in it for me. Like when you have the packets of hot chocolate, one packet ain't gonna do it. Okay, I need a packet and a half to do. That's why I like the ones that's like in the big container, and you can just scoop however much hot chocolate you want. And when I make my hot chocolate, I make it with oat milk or warm milk, more than I do with water, because it makes it creamier, and it's just better. If you have not had hot chocolate with milk, okay, people, do it this winter. Okay, it will transform your hot chocolate experience. So anywho, so we did the Creation Museum. That one we didn't spend as much time with because we had already done it. It was a lot easier to get through, but we enjoyed walking through that and going through there. I bought, y'all, I'm so excited. I got last time I remember back in 2011, they had this map thing, like this long map history of the world that's like I don't know how many feet long, but it stretched all the way across the wall, and you could buy it in the gift shop. And I did it last time because I was like, one, I was young, and I was like, I don't think I can afford that. I think I was like 21 or something, 22, and I was like, but this time I was like, okay. It's been over a decade since I've been here, since I've seen this thing, and I'm older now and have a little more money now. I have a husband. And I was like, okay, I really want to get this thing. So I bought it. In fact, I bought two. I'm not of the same thing. I bought the one big long map thing, which shows the history of the world in relation to the Bible. It's so cool. Like it starts at the beginning with Adam and Eve, and it branches off to all their kids and all their kids and all their kids and all their kids into like all the way to I think the 1900 like 1900s literally, and that's like the top part, and on the bottom it also shows you like key people from history like Plato, or like what the Romans were doing around that time, or the Greek people were doing, or, Germany and China at that same time, like what history was happening. Because a lot of times you get bits and pieces of everybody's, like you'll get part of this and you'll see part of that, but you don't see quite how they connect and where they are and if what happened at the same time and things like that. So it was just cool to see it laid out. It's like a big timeline map, if that makes sense, from the beginning to the 1900s, and it just has like important people and major events just mapped from like on a timeline, and it was so cool, and I have one. And you're like, okay, now what you're gonna do with it? Well, when I got home, Hubs and I looked at it together, and then I think I'm gonna put it in my prayer room downstairs. And it's too big to stretch out, so I'll have to figure out some way. I have it in a book. I did buy the book like covering to cover it because I knew I wouldn't be able to just have the space to stretch it all out. But I do want to figure out something to do with that. Anyway, I loved that. That was my favorite purchase from there. And then I got a little book that shows just the history of Adam, from Adam to Jesus, and the genealogy and just the history and things like that biblically from Adam to Jesus. So I thought that was pretty cool too. So both of those are going to go in my prayer room, and hopefully I'll look at them again because I do find them interesting, and like to see that kind of history, particularly as I go through the Bible and be like, okay, now what was happening at that time and things like that. So that was fun. That was the Creation Museum. And like I said, we enjoyed ourselves. Now, that day we ate at this place called, oh, what was it? Hebron Grill, I think what it was called. And that food, y'all, excellent. Everything I had was excellent. I got pretzel bites. Yeah, just cause y'all, I got pretzel bites and those were good. And my mom and sister, they had the waffle fries. And waffle fries are fine. I'm not a huge potatoy person, but I do really like fries, particularly if they're seasoned or salty. And I didn't get the waffle fries because I got the pretzel bites. Sounds like that'd be a lot of carbs, but my mom and sister did. And let me just say, I nibbled on both of theirs. I was like, oh my goodness, because they brought out the waffle fries and they weren't salt seasoned as say like Chick-fil-A, but they were seasoned with like the red seasoning, like Lowry seasoning, kind of that red. And that I was like, and I think that was the type of seasoning it was, but it was really good. Those were some good waffle fries. I was like, oh my, that was good. And I got a salmon BLT, which I didn't even know existed, but I did because I was like, let me eat some salmon. And I love BLTs because I'm a huge bacon person. And so I got that. And I got green beans, which tasted a lot like green beans that you would get from like Aspen Creek or Texas Roadhouse. That was kind of the vibe of the green beans. And then, yeah, and then my mom and sister, I think they got burgers or a sandwich or something. And I'm not a huge burger person. So, I can't speak to that, but they both seem to enjoy those. And my sister took hers home. So I think she liked it enough to be like, hey, I want to hang on to this and heat it up for later. So that was at Hebron Grill, I think is what that was called. And that place was totally delicious as well. So that was our quick trip before school begins. That was last weekend. And so, so one thing that mom did on this trip, because she listened to the podcast, hi mom, was she was like, okay, she was going to use her phone to pay for something. And I can't remember if it was that trip or that week, we had went to the store, and I think we went to Darling State of Mind or something. And mom got her phone out and we and used it to pay for his stuff and it went well and it went smooth. And I was like, yeah, go mom. She's like, look at me being cool. I was like, yeah. So then I was buying something too and I got my phone out and tried to use it. And y'all, tell me why it didn't work again. How's it gonna not work in one place, work at another place, and then not work at another one? I was like, okay, I need to figure something out. Like why and it's not the places I think that's rejecting my phone because my phone will be like, or it'll be like card declined until I use my actual card. And then it's like, okay, we're good. I'm like, but it's the same, And so once again, I was not cool. I tried to be cool, but I was not cool. But my mom was cool. So shout out to her. um, but speaking of phones, so in this last like week or so before school, I was like, okay, I got to get myself back on schedule. I've got to, get back to not just napping whenever, getting up early, napping in the middle of the day, staying up late, doing that things. I have to get back to being able to get up early, stay awake all day, and go to bed at a reasonable hour, right? And so I decided to do this thing where you only use your phone from 12 p.m. to 9 p.m. So from 12 to 9. So you don't get on your phone in the morning because a lot of time is wasted, scrolling your phone if you are laying in bed and it gives you an opportunity to get up, be active, be productive, do something before you use your phone. And then also, of course, not using your phone after 9 o'clock so your brain can wind down. And I remember doing that last year, not using it after 9, and for at least a couple of weeks. And that was very helpful and good. It's very, very hard to maintain, but in those couple of weeks that I did it, it worked out pretty well. So I was like, okay, I'm going to do it this time. I'm going to do the 12 to 9, not use my phone before 12 and, 12 noon and to be off my phone by 9. So that lasted for about 2 days. The first day I was quite productive. Before noon, I accomplished so much. I remember texting my husband. I was like, I was the perfect stay-at-home wife today. I was like, I had gotten food ready in the crock pot for dinner that night. I had like cleaned up this. I had fixed that. I had done something else. I had felt, let's just say, so productive by noon, not using my phone and feeling so good about it. And then I think even the next day, I was like kind of struggling to find what to do, but I was like, I'm gonna read a book, read my devotional, da 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 da. And then by the third day, I was like, and I just got on my phone. And I was like, oh, and then I just stayed on my phone. So I was like, well, I tried. And I'm not saying I won't do it again because I think I do want to try that again. Like maybe during the school year to be easier, but y'all, it's hard. But y'all, it didn't end there, okay? So I was like, okay, just because something didn't work doesn't mean it's a complete failure, right? So I was like, I'm gonna try something a little different. I'm gonna have a no scroll day, which is where I do not scroll on my phone that entire day. Like because honestly, you guys, I have felt like scrolling on my phone lately. Maybe it's because I've done it so much not being in school, but I feel like it's been making me a little nauseated lately. Like looking at the phone and just like scrolling and I just feel like feeling sick about it. And so I was like, okay, well, maybe my brain just needs to stop scrolling, like just needs whatever that does. My brain's tired of it. So I'll have a no scroll day where I can like look something up specifically, but I can't scroll through things. So like Instagram can't do, Facebook can't do. I could do YouTube if I don't scroll through anything. I have to look specifically for something. I can check my email. I can listen to podcasts, things like that. I just can't scroll. So I tried that, and that I don't know if it made it past the idea. I think I laid in bed and thought about that, and I think I don't, y'all. I really don't know if it made it past the idea. I feel like I scrolled on my phone even that morning. Where I was like, maybe I shouldn't scroll, and I was like, great, let me find a podcast to listen to. And I got on YouTube, and I think I started scrolling right away. I was like, oh my goodness, this is not going to work. So once again, that didn't work. Maybe I need to be more specific, like maybe just no social media for a certain amount of time. It's amazing how much we use our phones for things, y'all. I'm still trying to figure it out. If you have a great idea, holler at me, let me know. But yeah, I that didn't quite work either. So I need to figure something out. And this is one thing. So and I wrote this down because this is how I like to cool my brain down at night but still be on my phone. And that is I'll play word games. And so I'll tell myself like, okay, you can't do social media, past like 9 or 10. I was like, but your phone is there, blah, blah, blah. I know I will try again to be off my phone at night. But in the meantime, while I'm not trying as hard, um, I like to get on the New York Times games. And one of my favorite games to do is connections. I don't know if anybody else does connections, but it's where you're given 16 words and four of the words are connected through some way, like there is a category of some kind, and you have to just figure out which ones are connected. And a lot of times they throw in a couple of them that you're like, that could be connected, but they do it to trick you because they have multiple meanings, and you're like, oh, I got to think about it this way instead of that way. And then sometimes the connections are so random, like all of these words end in the name of an animal or something like that, that you're like, what? But I do love that. So I do that at night to kind of get my brain thinking, but not thinking hard and not scrolling. Um, and I like to do the mini crossword puzzle. That's fun too. And I also do Wordle. So all of it started from Wordle. Y'all remember Wordle and how Wordle was like the thing for a few months? I don't even know when. I don't know if that's like a 2020 thing or 2021. I can't remember exactly when Wordle came out and became super popular. But I still do it here and there. It's not I do like it because I'm a huge word game person. I love words and their meanings and all that stuff. Um, but I do I think I like connections more than Wordle. But I still do the Wordle as well. But those are my kind of like before I go to bed type games. That's been helpful. And honestly, I've been trying to do these stretches um, that I found online on an app, and which actually kind of it's funny. It leads me to physical therapy. I told you guys I was going to physical therapy, so now we're into this week because I had physical therapy. So far, I've had it twice. I had it Monday and Friday. Today's Saturday, and the Saturday before this. Yeah, it should be the Saturday before this comes out, but I went Monday and Friday. And I remember I was like, okay, I'm kind of excited to figure out what they're going to, tell me what to do. I'm sure they're just going to tell me to do exercises, but I'm just curious as to what kind of exercises and, just to see what they have to say. So I went Monday morning and I met my physical therapist, and she was this tall, pretty lady who's just, I mean, she was so cute. I was like, oh, she's nice. And she looked like she knew what she was doing. I mean, she seemed friendly enough. And, so she gave me some exercises and basically told me that my neck was super weak and my shoulder strength muscles back there were very weak as well, making my neck work harder. And therefore, that's why like my neck was hurting so much. It was weak and all this other stuff, which makes sense. So I was like, okay. And so she's like, we're going to work on, strengthening that upper back part of you and your neck and all of that. And I was like, great. And so we did some just like I think she gave me 4 or 5 exercises to do. Yeah, I think I've done them maybe like once and not even all of them. But so she did give me those. And I was like, okay, good. Like I'm gonna do I'm gonna do those. Really, I am. And then we're supposed to meet, I think, twice a week and then down to once a week for the next maybe month or so. So then, but she had nothing else available this week. So I ended up meeting another guy who was subbing for somebody else on Friday. Yesterday. And he was cool. He was this older guy. Like he seemed like he was, I don't know that he might be first generation American, but I feel like maybe his parents maybe came over here from somewhere, but I don't know where. He had a cool name, and he had like Greek tattooed on his arm. Anyway, so he seemed really fun, and he gave me some more exercises. And y'all, this is how you know you're weak. Okay, you know how anytime you do an exercise and you shake, it's embarrassing, right? Like if you're doing like a stretch, like push-ups, right? The typical one. Like I can do 1.5 maybe before my little arms start shaking. Well, he did this one with me, and he was like, huh. He was like, well, most people make it to 10 seconds. You barely made it to 2. I was like, And that was, I had to lay on my back and I just had to literally, y'all get this, tuck my chin and lift my head like an inch and hold it there. And, and I did that. And he was like, 1, 2. And then my little neck was just a shaking, and 3. And he was like, okay, you can put your head down. And he was like, yeah, your neck's it's pretty weak. So y'all do that. Go try that. Just lay flat on your bed. No pillow or anything. Tuck your chin, lift your head, and see how long you go before you start shaking, and see if you can get to 10 seconds. Um, and he was like, so we're going to do these exercises every day. We're going to like lift your head. And he was like, we're going to try to get to 10 seconds. So I was like, okay, we're going to do this. We did band exercises, maybe like with these rubber band things. I don't know what you call them, but we did a couple of those. and he added that to my regimen, and then also a couple of exercises with weights that he added to my little regimen as well. And y'all, working with 3 and 5 pound weights make me realize once again how weak I am. I was like, why do I have no upper body strength? Like I knew it. Like I've always been like I don't have upper body strength, but to have it like proven, it's kind of like, okay. But hopefully, physical therapy will continue to go well. I think the biggest thing is I'm going to have to figure out how to incorporate the exercises every day because I'm supposed to do them every day. Y'all don't do them every day. And but I want to because I really do want to get better. Like I really am tired of my neck hurting all the time. So I am going to try to figure out a way to incorporate it. Maybe add some alarms or something. I don't like alarms. I don't like feeling like, because a lot of times, sometimes if I know the alarm is coming like 5 or 10 minutes before I get anxious, because I'm like, I know this thing's going to go off, So I prefer not to use alarms, but, there are times where it just goes off. And I'm like, oh my goodness, good thing I had an alarm or I would have missed it. So maybe I'll set an alarm to do these exercises. I don't know. We'll see. I'll come up with some plan and I'll keep y'all posted on if it works or not. And so anyway, in this week before school started, I had a couple of things I was going to work on, and I was going to return library books and also pay our car registration. And y'all get this. This is like this is something I would do. It just makes sense that I would do this. I go to this is after I think it was after physical therapy, same day, I think. I was like, okay, I'm gonna go and I can't remember if it was or wasn't. Anyway, I was like, I'm gonna go and pay our registration. I'm gonna go turn in my books at the library and then I'm gonna go pay my registration. So I stop off at the library and I don't go inside because I'm like, I'm just gonna drop the books off in the book bin and then head to registration. So I go to the county clerk and I get there. Like it's 15 minutes away, y'all. I drove 15 minutes away from the library and then it hit me as I sat in the parking lot. I was like, when I was at home, I put our registration and insurance cards in the spine of the book. Like I stuck it in the book to hold it so that way it would not get rained on or anything because it's been raining a lot lately. So it would just be stuck in the book. And in my brain, I was going to take it out of the book when it was time. But I already turned the book into the library. In fact, I turned it into the outside drop off thingy. Y'all, I was like, ah. So I had to turn around, drive my 15 minutes back to the library, walk inside, and was like, hey. I was like, I accidentally left my car registration inside my book that I just turned in. And so the lady, she's like, oh, you don't even know how often this happens that people leave stuff. She goes, they always leave so much stuff, and some of it's gross, and some of it's like, and she's like, they always leave things, so don't feel bad. I was like, well, good. And so we walked outside and she had the key to open the thing and we looked around and got my book and there all my things were, my registration, insurance cards and all that. And I grabbed that and was like, thank you so much. And then I went back to the registration place, went back to the county clerk. And y'all, I go in. Usually when I go before work. So I hit it up probably right when it opens. And it could take maybe like 20, 30 minutes max. It's not too bad. You guys, I went, it was like 12:30 at this point. And when I say that line was long, I walked in, I looked around, I said, no, we're not overdoing nothing. And I walked right back out. I was like, we still got a while before this has to be turned in. So I turned around and left. And so it's still sitting in my car. I still need to do that, but I'll find some morning to go before school. um, to drop that off then. But I thought that was a hoot. Like, of course I would turn my registration in with my library books. Like, that's just something that I would do. But I will say, y'all, on these my little errands of running around this past week, I did discover I went to Qdoba and I got a rice bowl, which is what I normally always get. And usually when I get Qdoba, I leave having spent minimum $17. That's just like and y'all, I don't get much. I rarely, if ever, get a drink. I usually just get the bowl. I don't get anything extra other than guacamole. And just, I go, y'all, I think I had a new person because I went to pay for the thing and it was $11. It was like $11 and like 8 cents or something. And I was like, I know that ain't right. Because listen, okay, I got the white rice. I got the chicken. I did not get queso, but I got, my shredded cheese. I got the peppers and stuff, like the fajita stuff. I got the street corn on there. I got the pico de gallo. I got the other little corn on there, and I got guacamole. and it only cost $11. I was like, "Oh, I don't know if you pushed the right buttons, but I would take it." Maybe they're changing the prices. I don't know. But anyway, so that was good. That was lovely. And I definitely appreciated not having to spend almost $20 for that. And now I feel like I have to go back and see like how much it is this time and be like, huh. Reminds me of when I went to Seven Brew and got a drink I thought that should have cost more, but actually didn't. Which really their prices again. I've been back and maybe that is kind of their price. I think, what was it? Remember? I think it was like $5 for, was it for a medium or small? I can't remember. But anywho, so that was kind of nice. And I was like, you know what? That was some cheap food. Y'all know we don't hear that much, Most of the time, I'm like, that's so expensive. That was cheap. So I feel like I have to say that out loud. Like, hey, that was some cheap food. Now, speaking of food, my nacho fries are back from Taco Bell. Ah, I love the nacho fries from there. They're so good. And they're one of those limited things that they're here for like a month or two and then they're gone. And then they'll bring them back within a couple of months. But I love the nacho fries. I hope they would just make them a permanent part of their menu, but it's probably a good thing that it isn't because literally I will stop by just because I feel like I've got to, like, I just want to eat some nacho fries. The fries are seasoned so yummily and dipping it in the warm cheese sauce is just, it's perfection. So anywho, that's just a side note. That was good. And then one other thing, and part of my errands this week to get done before school starts, I had I went to the library, of course, to turn in books, but also wanted to check out some books, and also I had to get some money out from my ATM. And on these things, you know how you're given the option to do things in English or Spanish? Yeah, sometimes I decide to be brave and try to do it in Spanish, thinking like, okay, I've seen it enough in English that I have a clue about what it says in Spanish. Y'all, sometimes yes and sometimes no. I'm like, okay, what does that say? But luckily, because of out of like habit or repetition, I kind of know where to push, if not what I'm pushing. And so I've tried it, y'all. Try it sometime. It'll first off, it'll scare you a little bit because you're like, oh my, I don't know as much as I thought I knew. But then when you do it, you do feel kind of accomplished and you're like looking around wondering, did anybody see me do that in Spanish? Like, do they think I know Spanish? I'm cool, right? Y'all, not really. But so I did practice that a little bit. And then I have a note here that says the camaraderie of driving in a storm. So, as I mentioned, the last few days have just been rainy and stormy, and I mean, just tons of rain, which I think is good, especially when it's been hot. Grass needs it, plants need it, we need it. But driving in it is the stinky part. And so I was driving home from my first day back at work. For me, I did technically all teachers' first day for at least my county starts on Monday. So yesterday. But because I was helping with a kindergarten with kindergarten screenings with the Brigance and with the WIDA screener, I had, which is our ESL screener, I had started going back on Thursday, and so after work that day, it was just like torrential downpour, and I was driving, and it was raining a lot, and then on really oddly enough, like when it's raining that hard, it's kind of comforting to see other cars on the road with you, right? Because you're like, okay, if something happens, we're all in this together, right? Like if one car pulls off to the side, okay, but if like 5 million of them pull off to the side, I'm gonna pull off to the side too. Or if we're all chancing it, then we're all gonna chance it together. So so we get on I'm driving and I get on the highway and it went from like a heavy rain from to a torrential downpour to like a deluge. It was just I mean the wind and the rain, and it was so hard to see, and some cars were pulled over but not all, and so I was like, okay. And I was like, okay, I'm not gonna go all the way home because I live down windy roads, and as brave as I am, I'm also trying not to be dumb. So I was like, okay, I do want to make it to mom's house though, because mom's house is right off the interstate. I just like pull into her house and wait out the weather there. And so I'm driving, and I mean, but we're losing cars as we go. And by losing cars, I mean not getting blown away, but I mean like people stopping and giving up. But I was like, okay, guys, we just got like an exit or two to go. Let's do this. And so I'm driving, cars are pulling to the side. I'm like, I need to get close. And so we get off the exit, and it's a stop sign or a stoplight. and we got the red, so we gotta wait. Cars are going. The rain, I mean, it's like sideways, like that's how the wind is this blowing in that direction. And I mean, one of the freakiest things is when you're driving and seeing leaves like circle around and like move around in a way that you're like, "Oh my gosh, like are we about to be in the middle of a tornado? Like what is this?" Um which I mean, they're just leaves blowing in the wind, but it's very freaky when there's like lots of wind and rain and it's blowing kind of circularly. And so anyway, so then it finally turned green and the car, I mean, it was very tempting not to stay right there to go when it said green because it felt like your car would just would like wouldn't make it, but the car in front of me went, so I went. I was like, okay, if you can go, I can go. So we went, and then my mom's house, like I said, was right down the street. So I pulled in and I was like, yay. And I was like, Mom, unlock the door. I called her. She's like, okay. And I knew better than to use my umbrella. I had one, but I was like, psh, it would be useless in this. Like it will bend over backwards times three if I got it out. So of course I just get myself out and just run into the house. And like I come in, I'm immediately soaked, like just soaked in the 10 seconds that I was out there. But I was saying, I said all that to say that it was the camaraderie of being with other cars that made it feel a little better. I mean, it was scary as I'll get out, but being with other people and other cars, it's a little less scary. So there's something to that, guys. If you're going through something scary, find other people who are willing to go through it with you because then it's a little less scary. And you can make it farther than you thought you might have. But yeah, so that was an interesting experience. One that I don't have often, but probably like once or twice a year, where you do you're driving through some craziness. Like most of the time, though, I do hope, like, let's just wait it out. Which once I got to mom's, I did wait it out. Maybe 30, 40 minutes was all it took. And then it, blew over. And it kept raining for like another couple hours. But the huge downpour, the deluge, all of that was done after about the next 20 minutes or so. So that was that. That was this week getting ready for school. Hopefully that's not a reflection of what the beginning of the school year will be. If you remember last year, my district was on national news for our what's called the great bus debacle. Um, with we just did not have a good plan with busing students, and so this year we have a new plan. We will see how that goes. Hopefully, we'll all bind together and do something good for these kids. I am very curious about how that first how the first little bit's going to go with our students. I'm curious about it with our school. So I did have, like I mentioned, we had our kindergarten screening days this week and or for Thursday and Friday. And so it was kind of like coming back to school early, but not going, too hard. We had to work from 9 to 4 and we had scheduled in students. But I will say, seeing the students again, even just our itty bitties, our brand new ones, and some old ones. I did see some siblings that were students of mine. I was like, hey, so and so. It was kind of nice. It didn't make me like ready to come back to school, but it did make it be like, okay, like when I come back, it won't be too bad. Like, and I'm ready to see these kids again. Because they're first off kindergarten. They're so cute. They are something else. And when working with the kindergarten, just doing these screeners, it's a one-on-one screener. And it's just funny because it's like, oh, I can see what's coming. There were some kindergartners that came that they're enthused. They're looking around, they're looking in the classroom, they're ready. They're like, okay, like this will be cool. There's some kindergartners that I met with that immediately started crying, and this is with parents there with no other students, that I'm like, ooh, the first day of school is gonna be fun. Like there were some that, I mean, just one little guy, oh my goodness, he immediately started bawling, like just like when I was like, okay, let's go back here, blah, and then went running, like running out the door, like dad had to go get him. It was a whole thing. And I was like, oh boy, first day of school is gonna be fun. And then another little girl, sweetest, most precious, tiny little thing. She did so good with me during the screener and, doing the activities and stuff. And then we were waiting to start the second screener, the Brigance, with another teacher. And she just I could just see her breaking down. Her capacity of what she could do independently without her family was very quickly waning. And then little tears just start slipping out, and she's trying to wipe them with her tiny little hands, but they're just a coming and a coming. And I try to distract her. I grab another book to read. We get some I get a marker and dry erase board and we color, and she's doing the best she can. And then she looks and she's like, me, Poppy. And which she wants her dad. And she was like, he's Espelaki, or he was here. And I was like, I know. And she's like, I just want my dad. And could not hold it in any longer. And I was like, oh, sweet little thing. So her first day of school, I'm gonna have to find a way to check in on her because the little thing, I don't think she's gonna make it. And so there was that, and then there were some that like just as independent and ready as others. I mean, introduce themselves, like just feeling all excited. There's the ones who, oh, they're ready and excited, but boy, the teacher's gonna have a fun time teaching them how to like sit still. And it was so cute. I was like, all right, I'm ready for this. And y'all, look, we back to some school stories. One little guy, cutest little thing. One of our teachers, his name is Mr. Baker. He's going to be a kindergarten teacher. And the little guy, when he was told that that was his teacher, I don't know how he must know what baking is. He was like, we're going to be making food or something like that. And I was like, oh my gosh. And the other kindergarten teacher was like, no, that's his name, but he's not a baker. Like, I just thought that was the cutest thing. Y'all, this is why working with kids, it's worth it. Like, it's just, they're funny. They're so, I don't want to say innocent because I mean, they should be, but they are exposed to a lot. Let's just say that. But they're so forthcoming. Like they're not quite, they can't hide much at this point, right? They're going to be pretty open and honest with you. And it's cute and it's funny. And sometimes it's not, especially if they're mean. But for the most part, though, it is precious. And kids are, I don't know, they're just sweet. The kindergartners, they were sweet. We'll see if they continue to be that way or not. But yeah, so that did make me a little more excited about like, okay. And then being in the school and seeing other teachers, seeing old teachers from last year. I got to see Miss Craig. Hey, Miss Craig. Who setting up their rooms and running into those teachers and then meeting new teachers. Our school this year, we're going to have quite a few new faces. I think I mentioned we have a new principal, a new counselor, like a lot of new teachers. So running into anyone and everyone is just going to be so different. But I'm excited to see what this new year will bring. I'm actually kind of excited for the first day for like once we're all together because I haven't met all the new people yet. And so I'm curious about, I just want to see everybody like all in one space and be like, okay, this is the family, for this next year. Like here we are. This is who we are. So I'm kind of excited to see that, but I'm starting to be like, okay, I'm getting ready. Seeing teachers set up their classroom, setting up my little corner, seeing the kids again, that really does help a lot. So yeah, like I'm like, okay, all right, bring on this 24, 25 year, let's go. Maybe it'll be good, just because, sometimes years fall apart at the beginning. Last year doesn't mean you can't get it together and that this year won't be the same or won't be better. Hopefully not the same. Oh my, no. But I am kind of getting excited. I'm very quickly wrapping up. I know we're getting close to an hour. And again, like I said, I don't know when this is going to cut me off. I don't know if it's going to cut me off an hour. I think 2 hours. Y'all, what if if it's a 2 hour one, we can make this thing longer. I'm just kidding. I think most people who listen are happy with the hour. But anyway, so I will say just as kind of like parting words that just two things. One, that this week, I just had one lovely God moment where he just reminded me that he listens to me, and that was nice. And that was through a devotional that I hadn't picked up in a very long time, and I had just got finished praying and kind of feeling like, sometimes you have prayers that you're like, I don't know if he heard that one. Like I don't know if my heart was in it enough or my spirit was in it enough. Like that might have been one that maybe slipped through the cracks. And immediately that devotion that I hadn't picked up in a long, long time, um, that day was like, God listens. I was like, oh, okay, well, good. So that was this week. And so I wanted to share that and remind you that God listens to you. And that's just a nice reminder. And then, to say, okay, you guys, so I said it was Saturday, which means today is when I am actually heading to the Brandon Lake concert. I'm going there with a friend of mine and her kids, and I'm excited. We're going to go out to eat first. I think we're going to Old Spaghetti Factory, but I'll let you guys know in the next episode if we ended up going there or not. And I'll let you know how this concert is. This is me once again, marking things off my list of things that I normally don't do, but should do just to make life a little more interesting, and fun. So I'm going to this concert. I'm excited about it. I have to let you guys know how it is. I'm sure it's going to be a blast. But anywho, thank you guys so much for listening. I hope your last couple of weeks have been awesome and that the start of your August has been awesome. If not, I hope it just transforms and changes and turns into something good. And even if it's been good, I hope it gets even better. For those of us who are in school, hey, we did it. We did our first couple of days. We can continue. This might be the best year yet. We don't know. But yeah, I'm excited. So thank y'all for listening, and I will catch y'all in a couple weeks. Hey, I paused. Look, I paused here to say that it went past an hour and it's still rolling. I think y'all, it's going to give me 2 hours. I'm not going to go 2 hours, but I think it's going to give me 2 hours. Now, I will probably edit some of this out, so it may not be that long when you actually hear it, but I did find that interesting. That's all. That's all I wanted to say. Catch y'all in a couple weeks.